May 23, around 11 o'clock. So we started to transplant the last day of April. So the location Mango is transplanted April 30, and then the various places May 1st, 3rd, 10th, and then 9, 14, May 21, and next week uh, Delia for 6 May. So these dates are set in weeks. For example, the day of the 30 April, it's week 18, and May 14 is week 20, May 10 is week 19, May 19 is week 21, so on and so forth. So next week is week 22. Our schedule is messed up, and basically the challenge were rain, water. So because they're not irrigated from seafood, part of uh, Nicia, Muñoz IA, there's no water going into this rice field. So everything is pumped out. There was a plan to mitigate uh, water challenges, however, that didn't come into fruition. The schedules are set. For example, second crops, these three places. Week 18, we transplanted, uh, although I said 30, but it we started April 29th. And of course, the fertilizer didn't go according to plan. Uh, these 8 to 12 DAT, basically, manures, for example, we went into week 21, so we were how many? 2 weeks out of whack. Everything is shifted by 2 weeks. So this might shift by 2 weeks. I don't know. It all depends. So this plan of 8 to 12 that, 20 to 25 that, and 40, this will come as scheduled. However, these two are missed. That's the way it is. Uh, it's challenged by rain or lack of water. It's really important to understand how these schedules are without inputting data. I've noticed here farmers don't really look at data, and so they rely on memory. And unless they have super memory recall, these things relying on memory doesn't work. For me, at least. Maybe for others it works. The moment we transplanted May 14, uh, two different places. They were planted May 5th. We didn't really fully populate or transplanted the whole hectare. There, it's so hot that they can only manage to work from until 10 or 11 o'clock in the morning. And then really hot. They may not even transplant in the afternoon. It's scorching hot, especially with the humidity. That's why the schedule is messed up. Not because it's due to people unable to bear the heat. Something to keep in mind with El Nino, and maybe next time we uh, face El Nino, maybe we'll do it in the evening or at night or early in the morning. However, that requires spotlights. It's something that I've been thinking about. It all depends. It's all about budget. I've been asking around with farmers, why aren't farmers doing three fertilizer application? And the answer, most of the answer basically boils down to budget. So two fertilizer application is a lot of farmers can only budget, and these farmers hope to well, there's a hope that they, regardless of fertilizer application, that they would have high yield. That seems to be the hope. Uh, well, me too. I've been hoping. I've been doing two fertilizer application for how long? 4 or 5 years. I mean, I hope and pray. However, it doesn't change. Um, the yield doesn't increase. I think you've seen that in my past video, the past 4 or 5 years. It hasn't increased. It's only last crop with third up fertilizer application that we saw an increase in yield. And so, and that's the reason why we are now applying third application because what does it what does it take to learn? I didn't want to repeat two fertilizer application and the yield remains at 100 kilograms per hectare. I mean that's silly. Where my target is 300 kilograms per hectare. I mean, how do you get there? So one of the fertilizer seller, and he told me when I talk about three application, and the person says, "Oh yeah, we do three, sometimes four." And so I came to the realization that those farmers that cannot budget three application will either stay with one fertilizer application or two and pray for the best or hope for the best that they would have 150 sacks per cabans. There's nothing wrong with hoping and praying. However, I did that 4 to 5 years of hoping and praying. Second, with two fertilizer application, and then I finally did third fertilizer application because I had to bite the bullet because I'm not seeing any yield increase. And so I saw that if you do, according to data, okay, I'm not like pulling data or numbers out of thin air. I saw an increase from 15 to 25% in some of the most of the land that we were taking care of. Of course, there are mitigating circumstances beyond control. Although we did third application, a portion of the land that we were tilling, uh, there's no yield increase, and that's having to do with the quality of the rice seed. It, uh, that rice seed wasn't the best, and that's the reason why instead of buying rice seeds locally, we bought the rice seeds from Nueva Ecija, Muñoz. So that's why we have planted uh, these different places. So all of these, we didn't buy rice seedling here in Rojas. We bought them directly from Nueva Ecija. The the demonios we did first fertilizer application, basically 2 bags of urea per hectare. So we bought quite a bit, and these are the places we are going to broadcast the fertilizer soon. And so hopefully these different places we can actually get to schedule. And however, it's gonna be tough. So uh, this is this is where I am with this uh, learning how to grow rice. I've like I mentioned in my previous video about fertilizer. One has to look at those YouTube being presented and study them. It's really important to understand what these high yield farmers are doing. I can say for certain that only having first and second fertilizer application, the yield will be around 100 or less. It could be like 70. Uh, if a person has been doing that for 10 to 20 years and hope for the best, that's okay. I understand. It's all about budgeting. If a farmer wish to increase their yield, then they have to apply third fertilizer application and learn from other farmers how they want to be, how they want about. I was looking at the 8 to 12 DAT for these three places. Honestly, we were out of schedule, like I mentioned, by 2 to 3 weeks. The Mormon area though we're on schedule. I think there's other places also that's probably on schedule. Loud is on schedule also, I think. I was just talking to Arvin a moment ago, and we broadcasted chicken manure and manga, and he tells me that the rice are really doing great on the places that we broadcasted chicken manure. The organic is doing a pretty good job. According to him, it looks like it's like they've been fertilized with urea. So that's good news. So we're going to keep track on our activities because it's really important to understand how to improve rice yield. It one cannot rely on memory, and like I mentioned, a lot of the farmers here they rely on memory. There is no data, and so if there's no data, how does one understand how to improve rice yield from crops to crops, year by year, year to year? It's really difficult to increase rice yield without data, and uh, it's I find it really challenging here that even sharing with one another, it's like farmers don't want to share whatever they're doing, and just no sharing and data. And I hope to change that idea of not sharing data. I'm sharing the data that I'm learning or gathering because I have this desire to help other farmers increase rice yield too. It's not like I'm the only one that understand these. I want maybe I need the other farmers too to learn from their life experience in growing rice. And that's really that's really it. It's not something that I want to keep it to myself. I'm really enjoying sharing data with other farmers, and I really hope that people can understand this. When looking at the schedule, one has to look at the weeks. I mean, a week there's 7 days in a week, and for example, May 29 is week 18. How do you get week 18? Basically, look at the set the outlook. to give weeks on the left side. So week 18 is this, April 29. Also, the first 4 days of May is week 18, and then 19, 20, 21. You can set it up in Outlook, and if you look at weeks, uh, it's also here. It's really vitally important to understand these things. I mean, like I said, week 17, these are the days in that, April 21 to 27, and then set it up. I mean, and then from transplanting to booting phase is 9 weeks. That's basically data from the past 4 to 5 years. Sometimes the booting phase could be 2 to 3 weeks, but those can be readjusted. Most of the rice seedlings that we've been using, these are the data. You transplant, and week 9, it's booting phase, and then basically count the week from week 9, or basically week 10 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's week 15. So what is week 15? Then you go to week 32. What is week 32? Basically, it'll be August 4th. And what is August 4th? Week 32. And so these are the August 4th. Okay, week 32. So that's how one look at this data. These are always based from 4 to 5 years of gathering data, observing how the trends. In the past, I used to ask Arvin, when do you think we'll be harvesting? And he thinks about it, and he gives me a possible date, and I appreciate their experience. However, I got frustrated with that because I needed to understand the precision of the rice, and so I went about teaching myself and looking at, for example, looking at, okay, we transplanted week 18. I then observed that it takes about 9 weeks, 8 to 9 weeks, booting phase. So I observed that, like, anyone can do this. And then I also observed that if I count 7 weeks, I mean, I could say this is week 1 to 7, but I don't do that. Like, I decided to say week 9 plus 6. Okay, so that's 15 weeks. That's it. You could do the same as I did. You say, okay, booting phase, then 1.5 weeks or 1.5 months later, I would be harvesting. And you could actually almost to the day set your harvest time. I mean, you can look at the panicle and say, oh, okay, or spikelet and say, oh, okay, maybe I can harvest a week ahead, or wait till precisely 6 weeks. So these are the method of how I went about determining when to harvest. And in fact, I work out backwards. From here, I say, okay, well, week 32, I want to harvest. Okay, so I recalculated or refactored this number and says, okay, guys, we'll transplant week 18. and then that's it. Uh, it's as simple as that. In the past, I used to think that it takes exactly 16 weeks. I don't count the broadcasting of the seedling. It's really irrelevant. All I know is you want to set your week of transplant and then just count from that week. Count your days backwards, 20 days, and that's it. I mean that it's that simple. It's not rocket science. I hope that viewers understand this method of scheduling. This scheduling I learned from the 4 to 5 years of observing how rice grows, and also learning that the 2 years of the 4 to 5 years of doing first and second application, in fact, is out of whack, and there isn't any increase in the rice yield. That we finally introduced third fertilizer application, and we notice now that we are actually increasing rice yield based from last crop data. So I hope that farmers understand what I'm learning and sharing. It's really, to me, important that we share our knowledge together. Thanks for watching.